Thank you for deciding to publish your site with WebinOne. Today, we'll talk through the required DNS changes to get your WebinOne site live. And for this video, we're going to assume that you've already gone ahead and set up the WebinOne reseller account and have a site ready to go live. Setting up a reseller account is going to give you access to your WebinOne portal so you can add and manage your sites. So if you haven't set up your reseller account yet, check out the link below or go to WebinOne.com to get started. I'm going to be using the Firefox browser for this demonstration, but it really doesn't matter which browser you use. On the right of my screen, I'm logged into GoDaddy, a popular domain registrar, as this is where the domain name I'll be working with is registered. Your domain name may be registered elsewhere, or you may even have the DNS hosted with a separate provider, such as Cloudflare. Either way, you'll need to have access to wherever your domain name's DNS is managed in order to finalize the activation. Alternatively, you could send the IP address you'll receive towards the end of this process to your client or the person managing the domain name for them to update at their end. On the left of my screen, I'm in my WebinOne reseller portal, where I'll have my trial site that is now all finished and ready to go live. And here's a quick preview of the site that I'll be taking live today in trial mode. From your trial sites list in your portal, you'll see a button next to the site that says Activate. So we're going to click on this button to start the process. The first step is the plan summary, confirming the particular plan and features your website has been configured for. This would likely have been selected in the trial site stage when you initially set up the site instance. However, this step will confirm all this with you, notifying you of additional features that may be needed, any more optimal plan configurations that might save you subscription costs, and even options to remove currently unneeded plans, if appropriate. You can also toggle the pricing schedule to review the monthly price versus the discounted yearly price. Once the plan configuration is set as needed, you can continue. For this site, I'm going to select monthly, as I want to be on a more flexible monthly contract, but yearly is a great option too. Choose what works best with your reseller model. Click the Pay button to launch the payment page, offering various payment options through our Stripe integration. The email address you use here does not need to be the same as your WebinOne reseller account. The email will just be used to assign subscriptions to your payment profile within Stripe's system. Once payment has successfully gone through, head back to your trial site list and again, click the Activate button just to return to the setup. We can now add your custom domain name to use for the site. The domain I'll be adding to my site is webinonetesting.com. I'll type that in carefully again to confirm we have that right. If you're using the www subdomain, then you'll want to leave this option checked. If you don't use the www and want to just access your site via the root domain, you can go ahead and deselect this. In this case, I want to set up the www subdomain. Now, if the domain name has been registered for more than 24 hours and you haven't made any name server changes, you should be fine to continue here. However, if the name servers have been recently changed, it's best to just do a quick propagation check, which you can do via several online lookup tools. Here I'm using whatsmydns.net, and with a quick search, I can see that servers around the world can successfully connect to the domain's DNS, where I currently have the A record IP address set as 1.1.1.1. So that's looking fine to proceed. Clicking next in the activation process, the system is going to start checking that it can access the domain's DNS via its name servers. So it's important the domain has fully propagated, and why we checked this previously. If the check is successful, WebinOne will identify that the A record may need to be changed in order to point to your new WebinOne site instance. The new A record to add to your DNS will be displayed here. So now we need to copy the IP address and head back to our DNS management to update the appropriate record or records. I have my domain name registered with GoDaddy, but most DNS management interfaces are set up in a very similar way. So you should be able to apply the same here to your situation. I'll edit the existing A record and simply change the IP address to the new one provided by WebinOne. Now, by default, GoDaddy has created a CNAME record for the www subdomain and has this pointing back to the root domain. This is great if you're using the www subdomain and have checked the box in the previous step. An alternative way to configure a subdomain is to use another A record, setting the name to www and adding the same IP address for the record's value. If you're not using the www, you should delete either of these record types if they are pre-existing. If neither exists, and you do want to use the www subdomain, add either one of these record types to set it up, but not both. Great. I'm now pointing my domain name to the WebinOne site instance. So we want to come back into our portal and monitor the DNS checking progress. This can take a little bit of time because the DNS records can take time to update with your registrar and throughout the internet. Typically, as it says here, it probably won't take any more than 30 minutes. If anything goes wrong, it will come back with an error status, and you'll need to double check the DNS records or refer to the error message presented. In this case, I can see the IP address has been successfully picked up, but an error message has also been displayed, notifying me that there's been an issue with the system obtaining an SSL certificate. This can sometimes happen, so I'm going to send a quick message to the support team via a ticket here in my portal, and they'll action that as soon as possible. But if all going well, you'll see a success message, and your site will now be listed in your live sites list. You can go ahead and click the domain link to your website, and you should see your new website live at your custom domain name. This is all you need to do for site activation. However, there are additional DNS records you will likely want to configure for system email deliverability, such as SPF and DKIM verification. So be sure to check the documentation below for additional steps that may apply to your site. All the best with your new website, and thanks for watching.